Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Simply Living podcast. Thanks for coming. I'm Cody, your host, your co-host. And this is Joshua.
I don't know.
I'm like, are you gonna...
We didn't rehearse that. I don't know. Did you throw it to me? I'm Joshua.
Yes.
I'm her husband.
Yeah, I was like, we're married. In case you're new here, we are married, and this is the Simply Living podcast. In this episode, we're going to talk about how simply living is living creatively.
Oh.
Yes, creatively. So if you're creative, get excited. We're going to be talking about it. And if you're not a creative, get excited. We're going to be talking about it because are you not a creative? You sure? You sure? We're going to talk about what that looks like. But on this podcast, we talk about simply living, how to live simply, just simply live. It seems so simple when I say it, but what does that really look like? What does that mean? And why do we want to live simply? We want to live like Jesus did, and he lived simply. He followed the Lord. Simple as that. So we talk about it on this podcast and kind of dive deep into different topics of what that looks like. Now, we're still figuring this out. We're trying to figure out how to live simply. It's something that God brought to mind some years ago, even this year, telling us to simplify our lives. God is still helping us try to figure that out and trying to do that. But so it's a journey for us as well. And as God teaches us and speaks to us, and as we're figuring it out, we kind of want to share the journey and share our thoughts on it. So, yeah. Welcome.
All right.
Yes. All right. Let's get started. So, living creatively. Live creatively.
What does that mean?
Yeah. What does that mean?
Well, a lot of times I think when we hear the word creative, probably one of two things comes to mind. I'm guessing you would think someone who is artistic.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're so creative because you know how to draw or paint or sketch or, something. My mind immediately goes to more like art as in drawing. There's a lot of different arts. Maybe the writing, and like the storytelling that I would think of like creative storytelling. But outside of that, I kind of don't really think, my mind doesn't immediately go to other ways that you could be creative.
Yeah, you're like, oh, you must not be creative if you don't do those things.
Right, yeah.
That's true.
And especially if someone would consider themselves to be more analytical or logical, I think they automatically think, well, because I'm analytical, then I'm not creative. Because a lot of personality tests that, which can be helpful when you look through the right lens, right? They don't define us. But they're tools.
Amen.
Tools to help. They can help,
They're not our identity.
But I feel like a lot of times it's like on a sliding scale. It's not even a sliding scale. It's either like, it'll be so obvious, like, match how strongly you agree with the statement, strongly disagree, agree, strongly agree, or neutral. And the statements would be like, I love to paint.
It's like...
And then the other one would be like, I love to do fractions. I'm like, what?
Like, both.
You have to, right. So, they're so
totally different,
scaled, you can be analytical and logical and creative. You could be the most artistic person in the world and like structure. I don't think it's an either or. And I think we sometimes kind of restrict ourselves from the other category by, I'm a creative, so I hate math. That's not...
Right. Or I'm messy or something,
Right. Not true.
Yeah, it's not true. And I feel like we need creativity in every aspect because, like, if you're in a business and you want to, I don't know, like, function well, or, like, something's not working, let's say, or how your team's functioning or how the product is going or whatever it is, you have to think creatively to figure out, what could make it work. Or we'll get into specifics, okay? Like, into some of these points. But I feel like you kind of need creativity. And I feel like, try not to go off on a tangent. Okay, let me think. Do I want to say this? Go this route? I was just thinking about imagination and how, nowadays I'll speak for all of us, with quick gratification of, in terms of when you're watching television, you could just skip the ads, or like the fact that you're watching television and could just turn it on and be entertained right away. Social media, shorts, that kind of stuff. Always having access to entertainment. We've lost the potentially art of being bored, and in the boredom coming up with stuff, imagining, using your imagination. I remember as a kid in the car when we would go on road trips, a lot of my road tripping was daydreaming out the window, like, using that creativity. Or I would write because I didn't have, it's like I would write using my creativity. I mean, yes, I'm an artsier person, but I'm just saying, like, I think a lot of the, like, possibly imagination, the argument is that because of our instant gratification these days and our lack of being bored, imagination has possibly gone down. Not to say that that's true, because I believe that, God's given us imagination, all of us. God's given us creativity, and we can use that. But that's what we're going to be talking about. It's important. And yeah.
I feel like there's a deeper implication here.
Okay.
That sounded like it was scripted. It wasn't. But when you...
Not that you say that.
Yeah, right,
Speaking
of... I was reading an article, and I won't go too deep into it, mostly because I don't remember it.
That's like a lot of... Yeah.
But it was just talking about how... Because you said about, being bored, right? And they're talking about, well, how, like, we have this, and we have that, and we have this, and we have that. There's, like, no room to be bored, really. So they were kind of making the point that you can still be doing stuff and be bored out of your mind. If that makes sense.
That's true.
Like scrolling, or they call it doom scrolling or whatever. Like scrolling through
true.
TikTok, watching YouTube videos. There's just... you could be doing stuff, and be bored. But I think maybe where you're coming from was like, well, what are we going to do? Like back maybe some time ago, it was kind of like you didn't have the option to just fill your mind with like a screen, like the
quick shorts and
the quick gratification.
Videos,
like it was a lot of information. You couldn't consume so much information at one time. Not even 15 years ago. Yeah. And so it was more like, okay, what do? We go outside and like do something? Like, I don't know. Yeah. Like you just gotta you start to, it forces your brain to actively think of other things to do. Yeah. So I don't really know what the right phrasing is, but it's like I don't know what I'm trying to say, but because it's like I can be bored while I'm like doing something and the thing I'm doing is boring. Yeah. So I don't know if there's like some sense of like we've lost this sense of like fulfillment of the thing that we're doing. Like, I don't know if it's because it's not productive, or like what is the true essence of boredom. And now I'm kind of way off on a tangent, but it is.
No, I know we kind of got, I get what you're saying. Maybe it's not even that it's boredom that we've lost, just we've lost the space of not having something to do, I guess, and trying to figure out what do you want to do. I don't know how to explain it, but
it could be like, I guess in the situations we're describing, your brain is just like absorbing information instead of actively using it, I guess. That I think maybe where the boredom comes in. You're not really using your brain.
That's true. And even like we've been in jobs where, it's tedious, or you're just doing like tedious work, or like it's super easy basically. Or I guess in school sometimes you could be in school and it's super easy to do and you're like bored out your mind. Yeah. But that's where you're bored because you're not challenged. Yeah. And you're not using your brain like you said. When you said that though, it reminded me of something a friend said like some years ago of like God was saying like it's time to stop consuming and start creating. Like not to say that we shouldn't consume, because consume can bring inspiration. Yeah. But we shouldn't only consume, because that's where a lot of the boredom comes. That's where a lot of the not feeling challenged and a lot of the not fulfilled or whatever it is comes from. But we should consume and create and build. Yeah, true.
I think the word challenge is good there because it's like, yeah, maybe we're lacking some challenge.
Yeah.
And
we could create that challenge.
Yeah.
Don't need it from someone else. All right, keep going.
So we mentioned about God being a creator, and how does that tie into
that?
We didn't it? In the beginning, I thought we did. Okay.
Maybe I did. I don't remember. That was 10 minutes ago. Okay.
That might have been in our pre-show notes.
I
was trying to
might have said it in the beginning, and I was planning to segue, but then I was like, well, let me just say this first.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I don't have anything. I said it.
So. Okay. So as God being our creator, God is a creator. He created, says in the beginning, he what?
He created.
He created. We're like 4 words into the Bible, we already got created, right? Mm-hmm. And so it also says that we were made in his image and in his likeness. So if God created, was like the first thing that we know he did was create, and we're made in his image and his likeness. I mean, there's some hints in there that we are designed, we were created to also create. Yeah. In his image, that means that we create too. Like, we're made in his image. So. Yeah. So I guess I was thinking about, like, what did he create? Well, first of all, he created things out of nothing. And so it's like, we can come with God's help, like coming up with ideas or building something out of nothing, in the sense that, like, oh, let me just do what they did, like copying them kind of thing. It's like, it can be out of nothing, but also it's like, he created a bunch of different things. He created people and animals, sea, moon and stars, earth, the idea of work. He created, sorry, I got a little distracted, but he created, I think a bunch of different things, like different concepts and ideas, relationship, love, working, actual material things, like all that stuff. He created commandments, like he created that. So when we think of creating, it doesn't have to be all one type of thing. Like, creating is like, being creative is like in this artsy realm, like when you draw, you paint, you basically entertainment, things to look at, things to see. No, it could be this over here too. It could be concepts, buildings, like building things and new ideas, theories, and philosophy, physics, or whatever. So I think that's cool to look at, that God, as the creator, created totally different types of things. And as his image and the body of Christ, we are each have different giftings and roles that we can use the creativity that we get from God to act out those different giftings and roles. So it can look different. Creativity can look different for everybody. So maybe we shouldn't say, you're not creative, but I am, or I'm creative, or I'm not creative, you are. We shouldn't say that anymore, I guess. Yeah. But anyway, I just thought about that. Like, it's all different. Yeah. Yeah, don't say you're not creative, because you are. Somehow. Yeah. It made me think of, I guess, yes, that's very good what you said. I like how, we're drawn in. There's a lot of different ways that you can be creative, ways that our first instinct is not to think that way. Yeah. And I guess to tie that back into simply living, it's more like, I guess getting out of the headspace or idea that's like, well, I can't simply live creatively because I don't know how to draw. Like, that can make things a lot more complicated than what it is, which is... Okay. Yeah, that's true. Like, you can complicate what creativity actually is. Right, right. Like, chances are you did something creative today and you just didn't know it, Like, even if it was, you thought about like an idea, like you kind of said, like could be like a philosophy or an idea, and you thought about it differently than you did before, or you thought about like a new way to present, information or challenge a status quo or something, or a different way to tackle a math problem. I don't know, go back to math. Like, you need creative problem solving, and how do you solve equations, so
That's what I liked about trigonometry, because you could get to the same answer a few different ways.
Right.
Cosine. Oh man, that was fun.
All
right. You can't relate.
Can't relate.
Oh, that was the fun part of math. Oh,
I can't cosine on that.
Oh my gosh. I like that anyway.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we just went on another tangent.
Because of math.
That's it. Is that trigonometry?
Yeah. I talk about how I like trig, and I'm like, what was it? It was like cosine, sine, and what was the T one?
Tangent.
So it really was tangent?
Yeah, that's why I said it.
Wow, I just don't remember. I didn't like it enough to stay in it, guys. But anyway.
Yeah.
But no, I was thinking about that too, like how, like tying it back to Simply Living of, it's simple. Just be who God created you to be.
Yeah.
Which is creative. And God created you that way for a reason. And we see the benefit of God being creative, a creator. So there is benefit for us being creative and thinking outside the box and creating. I know we can, like, it can be tempting to just be stuck in the rut. Like, I'll just do what they do, or I'll just do what he says, or I'll just, we'll just keep everything the same. We'll never innovate. We'll never create, or we'll never do things differently, or we'll never think of new things. But I was thinking about like the airplane. The guy, whatever guy made the airplane up, that had to be out the box. Like, oh, I wonder if there's a way like we can get somewhere like in the sky, like get all the way over there, but via sky. It's like not car, not train, not horse. I want to go via sky. It's like I want to cross oceans. Like, you got to think creatively, and if there's a benefit to that. And I wonder if everyone thought outside the box. And obviously, there's like we don't want to butt heads. Where it's like, well, what about this? Like outside the box. I guess I should say like. Because thinking creatively and being creative is, thinking outside the box, but also being creative in how to make it happen and how to make it work and how to make it make sense to where you want this to exist or you want this to happen. But imagine if everyone was that way. I wonder if we would find a little more fulfillment because we're using more of our brain and we're not just like scrolling, like it's bored. I'm bored out here. And then also it's gonna, I guess it's like, would it be a more exciting world? Like, imagine if, like the guy who made the airplane, imagine if someone else who thought of a cool invention, but was like, nah, or didn't even want to think of a cool invention, but had the capacity. And he was like, I'm just gonna go to work and go home, go to work, go home. Like, you know what I mean? It's like, imagine if we were all thinking outside the box all the time, creative, if it would be more exciting things to see and look at and experience. I don't know.
Yeah.
I was thinking about that.
Yeah, not another live action remake. Sorry, no shade. Anyway.
Okay.
Hey.
Sometimes I gotta get there's strategy. There is financial strategy to why a company might do a bunch of remakes. Yeah. But is that always the best option? Who's to say?
So anyway, some time ago, I took like this. I didn't take it. I watched like a LinkedIn Learning class. It wasn't like
that's a class.
I didn't like take the class, Anyway, it was called Creativity Bootcamp.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And so one of the exercises was, you had like 1 minute and 30 seconds. And the prompt was, you're basically a marketing team for like a cereal brand, and you're launching like old Western like toys that launch in this cereal box, like a cereal box prize. And so you had 1 minute and 30 seconds to partner with your team up, and you had to come up with as many different prize ideas that you can think of, right? And so they went through, and then, you just, he had people raise their hand. How many did you come up with? 8, 9, 10, 11, 15, whatever. And so he said, all right, so raise your hand if you had like I don't know, treasure map. Basically like, not a treasure map. What am I talking about? What's the old Western thing? tumbleweed. I don't know.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, I was gonna say a wheel basket thingy.
Okay. The point was
horse?
at the top of the list, everybody had like the same like 1 through 7. Like most people had those on their list. But then he was like, what happens is I'm getting somewhere. Hang with me. Probably what happened, probably around like halfway through your list, somebody said something stupid. Like something so ridiculous. Like they're like, what if we like put like a miniature talking parrot in the box, like a real one, you know, like something so absurd, and then it made you pause and be like, that's dumb. But then afterwards, your ideas got way more creative than what you listed in the top half. Like then the bottom half, I'm sure the ideas are way more creative and out of the box thinking.
Yeah.
Because someone said something stupid and impossible.
Yeah.
And so kind of trying to tie it back to your point is sometimes it takes that, you know, crazy out there, like this is never going to work, so why would I even say it? Just throw it out there because it may not be the thing that you do or pursue, but then you can work backward. It's a lot easier to work backwards from something super absurd than it is to start from something that already exists and try to make it creative from there.
That's a good point.
What I'm trying to say.
That just made me think of, like, I wonder if that's like part of the reason, or if that's why some dreams, like some people's, like when you have a dream, like somehow like that really works for a movie or a book. Like I'm thinking about Avatar, like that stemmed from a dream, like the series, like the blue people, you know, aliens. But yeah, that stemmed from a dream, like because it's so out there. When you're dreaming, you're not thinking, like it's just so out there. It doesn't make any sense, but like it's so out there. Now you can reel it in to where like, oh, this is kind of cool. Like this is like a, you know. Yeah. So yeah, that makes sense. That's cool. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know when that was that you took that course, but
some time ago.
Okay.
But yeah, there's usually, and this is why it's important to have both sides while we're talking about this, you know.
Okay.
I don't like to say sides because, like I said, you can be both. But I guess
you can be both in one. Yeah.
Somebody to be like, how, like, to question the stupidity in a way. I don't say stupidity. I'll say absurdity. You know, that's a better word.
Okay.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Like, how is the parrot gonna breathe in the box? Is it, you know, like,
it's just gonna fly right out? And is that very sanitary?
Yeah. See, well, we see who's the one who's bringing me back down there.
Oh my gosh.
Anyway.
But also with that, there's also the person that also can be me, that also you need, that can help make it reality. Like, so how are we going to make this happen? So
she's good at that.
Who are we going to contact to get this parrot? Yeah. And how many parrots do we need? And again, is this legal? Like, who do we need to talk to make it legal? Like,
yeah. We all need each other.
Yes. And a lot of times that person can be in one person. Like, you know, but it helps to have, man, we're talking about community now. It helps to have multiple people with you on that. But even just because you might think of an absurd idea, and then I might think of an absurd idea, and then together, the idea starts to make a little more sense when you take this part out and this part out in you. Yeah. Yeah. Well,
go ahead.
What were you going to say? No, you can say it.
So a theme that I feel like has come up often in my mind throughout these episodes, going back to season 1, really, about simply living. I feel like there's 2 like main words that I feel like, because on the surface it's like, well, all this sounds great if we're just in community and we're just, you know, simply living, and we're simply loving, and we're simply creating, and we're simply eating right. I don't remember all the episode titles.
I remember we did talk about that.
But you know, like all these things that sound like, well, yeah, it sounds so simple. Why don't we do that? Nah, the 2 words, there's probably a lot of reasons why, but there's 2 words that consistently come back to my mind. Any guesses?
I thought you were going to say the flesh, but I don't think that's one of them.
Well, that encompasses both of the words.
Okay.
The first one I would say is fear. Well, and then it's like, well, how can it be fear to live simply? I think this pairs very nicely with the second one, comparison.
Oh.
That's what comes
and
into
we did
my
an episode
mind.
on that, killing comparison.
Yeah, we did. And I think it's just because I'm thinking about like, okay, so why doesn't everyone just like simply be creative and have like do these creative things?
Yeah.
Well, fear probably maybe is down
Can
in
I
there
even
somewhere,
do it? Yeah.
right? And then the comparison of just other people's creations and ideas. You know, like, well, it's not going to be good enough. Or not even saying an idea because it's like, well, I mean, I am pretty bad at this. I feel like I have a lot of ideas like God gives me, but almost 90% of them I don't even get past the idea part because I'm like, but that's already been done before. Like, I don't. Someone's already done it, or someone's gonna do it before I can like put it into act. Like by the time I actually do this, it's already gonna have been done, so I might as well leave it alone. That is what I'm saying. Maybe you feel like that too, but
valid.
That is a lot of fear of it failing, you know, or just like it not being as good as I think it's gonna be in my head, or the comparison of like, okay, I came up with this idea and people say it's terrible. And it's like, which is probably not probably will happen, you know.
Yeah.
So it's just getting through that comparison and fear to like live this life of I don't want to say of simplicity, but to simply live and like to simply live for God.
Yeah, I was gonna say because that kind of relates to a previous episode on this season, simply follow God. Was that the last episode? I think of
I think it was.
Getting rid of that fear and that comparison can help us to just simply follow God and in that be creative as God's calling you to be. Live out those ideas, do those ideas. Sometimes the one they said that's a terrible idea is the good idea. They just don't have the faith or the lack of comparison and fear to also believe in that idea. Sometimes they might be right, but so I think that's valid. And I was thinking even with what you were saying with fear and comparison, I feel like sometimes we can also compare and be like, well, that's working for them, so let me just do that. But then we actually have our own path. If we were a little bit more creative or thought outside the box, we have our own path that's actually suited for us. But when we try to do their path, it's not as fulfilling, or like we're pressed because it's not for us, or like there's something missing, or it doesn't reach the results that it's supposed to because it wasn't for us. It was for them. And a lot of times that could be fear that's causing us to do that too, because we're thinking our ideas or whatever we come up with won't work, but theirs is working, so let me just do that. And I can get caught up in that for sure. Like, well, let me just do exactly what they did. Even with, this is like, I guess it's still creative. So even with like, I was telling Joshua, like when we want to design our home, I'm like, instead of me wanting to work hard, do the work and really come up with cool design ideas, let me just, and even pulling from Pinterest or whatever it is, I truly just wanted to get out a magazine, see a room I like, and replicate it exactly. Like, oh, I like that room. Just do exactly what's in here. We don't need to change anything. Just do this. Like, not to say that that's bad or good. I mean, I'm not an interior designer, so what am I really expecting here? But that just made me think of that. But I think we can get caught up. We could lose our path that God wants us to go on when we don't want to live creatively. We just want to kind of do what other people are doing or just coast. But it can be a good thing when we do live creatively and when we do think outside the box, because we can have our own way of getting somewhere. Even like, for example, if you're trying to reach wealth or something like that, this person reached it that way. You, though, it could be your calling to reach it over here. But if you try to do it that way, it won't work or something like that. Some scriptures that God brought to mind with this idea was that, like, or I should say Bible stories, I guess you could call it that. But like, for example, Abraham in the Old Testament, that's when God first said, this will be the promised land for your descendants. This will be where you guys are. And that was Canaan. He brought Abraham there. He told Abraham, just walk, just go. Leave your home and go, bro. He didn't know where he was going, but the Lord was like, just go. And he brought him to Canaan. And he was like, this is where your descendants will be and all that. that was a straight shot. Now the Israelites, when God was bringing them back to Canaan, there was a different path that they went. Part of the reason they went through the wilderness where they went was because they would get caught up with these battles over here that they weren't ready for. Mm-hmm. So they had two different paths. When we talk about Joseph, the son of Jacob who had the robe of many colors, if that sounds familiar to you guys, he dreamt, God gave him dreams that he would be bowed down to. He would be in Egypt or he would be bound down to. That was a dream. Mm-hmm. And so his path to getting to Pharaoh and being in Pharaoh's palace and being bowed down to as royalty, I guess, was way different than Moses reaching the palace, which he eventually did as well and having authority there. Moses's was through the river he goes and now is greatly adopted by Pharaoh's daughter, raised in Pharaoh's palace. Joseph's is through slavery and a bunch of stuff. But my point with that is like they each had their own path of getting there. And lastly, if we want to talk about New Testament, God called Matthew to write a gospel. He called John to write a gospel. And they both wrote the gospel. They're the same story, right? Some of them, like some may include some stories that others didn't, but they're the same gospel, right? But they're written differently. And they were written with different attention, different points that they wanted to make. So they were being creative in that. So yes, I think the main point is we want to be who God created us to be. We want to create how God created us to create, and not try to be like someone else was the other part of living creatively. Like if you're just simply living, you're simply living as you ought to live, not trying to live as someone else and making your life complicated that way.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah.
Thanks for bringing the Bible into this.
Yeah, I know. I started thinking about that with when I was praying about what to talk about, but it was like, how do we need to bring more scripture back? Yeah. I think we did really well on that in the first season. I feel like you were preaching, not to say that he's not in those later seasons, but I'm just saying gotta remember that.
That's good. I'm over here making math jokes.
And that's good too. Trigonometry.
Anyway.
Okay, anyway. So, yeah. Any last thoughts?
I did have a thought.
Okay.
But it's not necessarily about creativity.
Oh, okay.
But you did say something that makes it make sense.
All right.
Because you said the word coasting.
Oh, okay. I keep saying okay.
Right?
Yeah, I did.
It made me think about this when we coast. Coasting, you never actually coast, by the way.
Maybe we should define what coast is. It seems like a...
Coast? Okay, so I just imagine like coasting is like you're just kind of if you're on a longboard, I picture like if you're on a longboard and like you're taking these like strides with your foot, but then you stop and you just coast. Like it is on the board and you're letting like momentum coast, right? But coasting in terms of what I think we're talking about is more like just going through the motions.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of, the phrase, going through the motions.
Not really doing anything over here, not really doing anything over there, just kind of coasting along.
Yeah.
Here's what I thought about. Coasting is kind of not really an accurate term when we go through the motions. I'm thinking spiritually speaking.
Okay.
Coasting is more like drifting. Because when you think coasting, you think like, it's the word coast implies you're going on the same path the whole time. You're not really growing, but you're not really like going back. You just are I'm just right here and I'm just coasting.
Okay.
But what I feel like God had convicted me of this today, actually. That's why when he brought it up, I was like, ooh. So I kind of felt like coasting, but he was like, coasting that's not the word. Drifting is the word. We don't ever coast, like we really drift. And the example that he gave was, this actually did happen to me.
I was like,
this was some time ago.
What's he about to say?
I was in the ocean. I was boogie boarding, bodyboarding on the ocean, having a great old time. And it's crazy. If this never happened to you, it's hard to explain But when I tell you, where it's in the waves, bodyboarding back to the shore, go back out a little bit, bodyboard back to the shore. I thought I was in the same spot. Like we didn't go very far, back, back, back. And then we kind of just chilled out there a little bit, waiting for a wave to come. And then after a while, I'm looking around, the shore was not in sight anymore. I had no idea, I was playing in the waves, then I just chilled. I didn't move. I didn't move at all. I was just chilling on the board,
The waves took you.
And then drifted out into the ocean, right? Not that far away. It was pretty far.
I mean, you didn't see the shore. I'm like,
but we eventually, swam back with the bodyboards. Thankfully, we had that because being out in the ocean.
Yeah, and I'm like, how do you even know which direction to go?
Afloat.
You don't even.
But anyway, that's kind of like what he was saying with spirit. Like, I'm not saying to the point of like apostasy or like you're gonna drift to all the way to like renouncing your faith. I'm not saying that necessarily, but I'm saying like it could feel like coasting is just like, okay, I'm good. Like I'm in a good spot. Like I'm not really like, I don't feel like I'm growing in my faith. Like I'm not like really learning more, but I'm not really like I'm not really going backwards, like, cause I already know all the other stuff. I'm just not like investing in it, or does that make sense?
Yeah.
So I can kind of feel like that sometimes, like, oh, I'm just like in a good place, but really it's like drifting.
So how are you drifting?
I think the example of the ocean is like, it's dangerous because if you're not actively spending time with God, I'll put it back to me. When I'm not actively spending time with God or praying or reading the Bible, 1 day turns to 2 days, turns to 4 days, turns to 2 weeks, turns to a month, before you know it, and it's like, wait, what? When's the last time I like actually sat down and like, and I'm trying to say a prayer, and it's like, it just is like,
you've drifted kind of like, it's not as easy now to pray. It's not as easy to be in this presence, like, or to get right in there with him.
And
like,
it's harder to like, people, I don't know who said it, but I feel like it's a true statement. If you don't want to read the Bible, read the Bible.
Yeah.
And it's like, then you'll want to read the Bible.
Yeah.
And I'm always like, but I don't want to read, like, I don't want to. And then it's just kind of like, when you read it, you'll want to read it. And it's just anyway. So there's this drifting that happens, and even like you don't realize it. Like you're just kind of like, what happened? Like you wake up one day and it's just like, what happened to my relationship, with God? And it didn't even come from like, trying to actively like walk away. It was just drifting.
Right. No, that's good.
That's
thank you, God. That's good, God.
Yeah.
God. No, that's good. That even made me think like, even when we're I'll say this. Creativity flows, I believe, the best when we're closest to God. Like,
He's
for myself, I know when we're like spending more time with God and really close to Him, or not to say, I guess I'm trying to say like, the closer I get to God, I'm seeing how the more I want to work on those creative things, the more I want to develop, the more ideas I have for businesses, books, songs, like the more that comes. And when I'm not as close, or when I haven't spent a lot of time, or like when I'm pressed in life and haven't brought it to Him, or whatever it is, I no longer want to work on those things or do those things. I no longer have that passion or have those ideas. And now I'm kind of sad and kind of a little hopeless, because I'm like, what is life? What am I even doing? Like, and then I just it's like unfulfilling. That's what's happened to me. And then when I go back to God and go push in more and like really just rest in Him and lay my burdens down, open up and just be there, then those ideas start coming back. I start feeling more fulfilled and hopeful, because I want to like imagine, dream, create, do those things. So I'm like, when the drifting happens, the creativity drifts as well. That can go away. I mean, maybe someone else, it could be that the creativity drifts or goes the wrong way. Like you start to be creative on some other stuff that's not good. But I'm just speaking from myself. I've seen the creativity drifts as well. Or you don't as much. And you start possibly wanting to consume more instead. And it's just not as fulfilling. It's just not. So that's good.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. The more in tune you are,
it's the voice of God, the Holy Spirit.
You know, I guess I don't like to say closer or further away. But
I know. I was trying to figure out how to say that. Just coming to Him at all, laying actually opening up and actually letting Him in.
I guess the more in communion you are with the Creator, the more creative you will be.
That makes sense. It's awakening your spirit and who you are. And He's sanctifying you. And sanctification is becoming holy as He is holy, becoming who He created you to actually be, instead of you following, evil desires, basically, which is our nature of.
Yeah. And sorry.
No, go.
I would just say I think that there is a fulfillment there. God, I would say always, really. I don't like to use the word always and never, because they're mostly not true. Unless you're talking about God, then it's always true. When you're talking about,
Yeah, that's true.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like I'm going to say always. He'll always give you these ideas that are going to honor Him. And push His kingdom forward. He's not going to give you an idea that's going to detract from His kingdom.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Or His plan. So He's always going to give you a creativity to lift Him up. And there's a fulfillment that comes from that you can't get from a worldly, I'm using the broad term, worldly creativity.
Yeah, that's true.
And it reminds me just of that scripture, in John, Jesus is talking to the woman at the well.
John 4?
John 4, yeah. About how basically he says...
we have it on the wall. Sorry. John 4.
Yeah. He basically says, if you would have asked me, I would have give you living water and you'll never thirst. It's not verbatim, but basically he's saying... He'll give you living water and you'll never thirst when you drink from His well, basically, not the other wells that run dry. That's the general sense. I'm trying to say, I don't remember it word for word off the top.
But I mean, you ask for me for what, you're asking for water. Well, I can give you I can give you living water is the main point. This water from the well is you're gonna still be thirsty again, but I can give you living water. You'll never thirst again.
Yeah, John 4. Go read it.
Go read John 4, bro. Yeah.
And the point is the fulfillment, the creative fulfillment that you're talking about. That's what made me think about this. It's because it's for God, and that is something that is going to continually fuel your desire to be creative. Like when you're doing it for God and you're not doing it necessarily for other people or for money or for, I don't know, just your own ambition or your own confidence boost. Like when the reason you're doing something is really to advance God's kingdom and it's for God's glory, that's where the fuel is you're not gonna burn out. God will not let you burn out in those things because it's for Him. He'll give you that living water where you'll never thirst.
Yeah. Amen.
All right.
I was let me remember that for this YouTube channel. I'm doing it for the Lord, for the people. It helps us as well.
Yeah.
When that's your motive and not growth, money, all that stuff,
Right.
Yeah. Obedience, really, when you want to obey. Anyway, yes.
All right. This has been episode 3? 4?
Oh, I don't. Wait, what is it? Wait, let me.
Oh, no.
I don't know why I forgot. I did that one, and we did that one. Wait, where's the sheet so I can see what episode this is? I think it's 4. Okay. It's 3. No, it's 4.
Okay.
Okay, let me just run down these episodes because I can't believe I forgot. Episode 1 was like about peace. Episode 2 was about I don't remember. Please go watch them. Episode 3, the last one we did was about simply following God. Now this is episode 4.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
We're professional.
Faith. Episode 2 was about faith.
All right.
Anyway, so thanks for checking this out. If this was helpful, please share this episode, whether you're listening or you're watching on YouTube or on Spotify or wherever. Share this if it was helpful to anyone you think would be helpful to as well. And we will catch you all next week.